Hard to believe it's a Wednesday night as we welcome you into the Unrivaled Weekly Preview Show, live from inside Lasch Building again tonight. I'm Brian Tripp as Penn State, ranked 11th in the country, gets set for its Big Ten home opener with the Northwestern Wildcats. Hard to believe that it's the first trip to Happy Valley for the Wildcats since 2014. Head coach James Franklin coming up in just a moment. Let's take a look at our matchup this weekend, Penn State and Northwestern. It'll air on ESPN at 3:30. The Nittany Lions are 4-0, coming off a 33-14 win against Central Michigan. Northwestern, meanwhile, opened the season in Big Ten play as well, actually in Dublin, as they took on Nebraska. Won that game 31-28, dropped 3 straight home non-conference games, but now jumps back into the Big Ten slate as well. Both teams, 2 of 5 Power 5 teams to record conference wins for their first win of the season. We'll have the Nittany Lions and Wildcats 3:30 coming up from Beaver Stadium on ESPN on Saturday. Now let's go to the podium. Head coach James Franklin addressing the media.
Why is the first question always the hardest?
I got one for you. We've seen Keziah in a scout team for your team. We didn't see that today. Does that signify that he's maybe going to be in a different spot for the team?
That's possible. We'll see how this plays out, this week, but that's possible.
James, you have several players on the team from Florida. Do you have to talk to them about what's going on down there? How are they dealing with things, and how are their families dealing with it?
Yeah, that's a fair point. I hate to say this, but we're in a submarine sometimes. And although I am aware of it and we've discussed it as a staff, obviously Jay Wan's from there and things like that, but I'm actually glad you brought it up because we probably need to discuss it a little bit more in detail and follow up on it. But sometimes I hate to admit it, I don't want to sound like one of them coaches that's like totally unaware of what's going on in the world, but sometimes we fall into that trap. But I'm glad you brought it up. We have discussed a little bit as a staff, but it's something we probably need to dig in a little bit deeper on and make sure everybody's okay.
James, what's it meant to you to see the use of fire pass rusher shot this season, especially since it wasn't going to be that
Yeah, it's. I think everybody knows how I feel about Adisa and his family, and it's been really awesome, since he stepped on our campus and even through the recruiting process. So like a lot of our guys, it's great to see them have success, specifically coming back off an injury. He's a special young man, and we need him, for our defense and for our team to be successful. But it's also great to see him, be able to have some individual success as well.
James, when you talk about the kickoffs and you said that you want consistency, what does consistency look like for you? What are you looking for on that from those guys? Yeah,
same kick that we're looking for, which for the most part we'd like for that ball to be at least a 4.0 hang time. We'd like for the ball to be what we call the divide or wider, so between the hash and the numbers, the divide between those 2 points to the sideline, so we don't have to defend the entire field. And you'd like it to be a yard or 2 deep. So if they decide to bring it out, then we should have a chance to pin them deep, or they keep it in and there's no threat of a big return and the ball's at the 25-yard line. We'd like that to be as consistent as possible. I think you guys got a pretty good idea last year, obviously, with Stout. All of these guys have the ability to do it. They've done it in practice, but we got to be more consistent. And for whatever reason, last game it was all over the map.
James, Northwestern's Peter Scarronsi, he was one of the top linemen in the country. After watching him on film, why do you think he's so highly regarded?
Well, we recruited him out of high school as well. Big, athletic, smart. It's funny because in some ways you don't get to completely evaluate them because they chip a lot. They'll use the tight ends and running backs to chip, and a lot of people do that. When they feel like it's a matchup problem. But they do it all the time, and even with him, and I don't know if he necessarily needs it all the time, but it's just part of who they are and what they do. So sometimes it makes it difficult to evaluate him, but we know how talented he is, got a ton of respect for him, and we know it'll be a challenge on Saturday.
James, you guys have gone from Blake Gilligan to Jordan Stout and now to Barney, just turning out elite punters. What's been the key to just kind of developing these guys so that they're able to pin opponents so deep? As you said, half of Barney's punts have been inside the 10-yard line, and what can you say about his performance this year?
Yeah, I think, obviously we're talking about veteran guys that have been able to be consistent. And that's the key for all these guys. And that's what some of the young guys that you guys are seeing on kickoff haven't been able to show that yet. So I think having veteran specialists, Stoll's another one that just consistently goes out and does his job. But obviously it has a factor in field position. We've done a really good job in field position in the first 4 games. The punts play a factor in that, the kickoffs play a factor in that, and obviously the turnovers play a factor in that. So it's obviously been helpful. And then to not only be able to punt for average or net, but also to be able to pin people deep inside the 10-yard line is obviously significant.
James, when you go into a game, you talked about there are times with quarterbacks that you want to play a guy early. What about with the running back situation? With your ability to kind of switch gears, do you go in thinking you're going to play this guy X amount of snaps, this guy X amount of snaps, or is it a feel thing as you go through and it's you and J1 making the decision?
It's same deal. We'll have a typical rotation, which with those guys, most of the time it's going to be 1-to-1. And then if somebody gets hot, that's really happened the last couple of weeks where one of them's gotten hot for whatever reason, and we've kind of let it sort itself out for the most part. So we haven't discussed rotation this week, but I would think it's going to be similar to what it's been. And then if somebody gets hot, we continue to go with it.
James, we saw Hunter practicing again today. Any further updates about his availability for Saturday?
Yeah, we're hoping to have him back. That's what we would like, is to have him available this week. I think he's a lot closer than obviously he was last week. But there's also things that happen in practice that sometimes make those things difficult as well. You get rolled up in practice or whatever it is. So we still got another physical practice on Wednesday. We'll see how he's doing and how he's trending.
Can you take to nail down the plan? I know that you guys work ahead either in the off season or have enough people in the Army to do it a little bit a few weeks in advance, but I know that you mentioned that you're going to go recruiting next week. I'm sure there's someone on a message board somewhere going, well, you should spend all that time preparing for whoever else. I mean, at what point have you maxed out the amount of preparation that you can do for Saturday?
You're talking about like during the bye week you're talking about, or this week?
Or if it's the same during the week?
Yeah, so we don't typically ever go out recruiting except on Friday. For the head coach at that point, and really for pretty much everybody, the plan is set at that point. Obviously, we have our routine in the hotel that we stick with, but it still allows me to go out. And what you're really trying to do always, and that's what I think makes it so challenging, is at the same time you're trying to get your team prepared, you better be preparing for the future or you're going to fall behind. You got to try to be able to balance too. And then during a bye week, you're really trying to do both things, right? I guess 3 things. You're trying to get as fresh as you possibly can. You're trying to get a head start on at least your next opponent, possibly next couple opponents, especially with the stretch that we have, and make sure that you're able to take advantage of those extra days. And we spent a lot of time in the off season talking to different people, looking at different models. We're probably different this year than we've been. We're going to have an extra day of practice. We have typically on the Thursday gone just a non-travel squad practice. We're gonna have a full practice, not anything heavy, more of a jog through type practice, more of a mental type practice. But we're gonna get a head start on our opponent as well. So we'll see how that thing plays out. But the same people that would be saying that I need to be in are the same people then would be critiquing when the next recruiting class isn't what they think it should be. So whatever doesn't go the way everybody feels like it should, you're going to get criticized. So you make the best decision you can in terms of building the program, and I think we got pretty good experience and history with doing that.
Going off of that, do you know when there's enough film out there on your offense or your defense by like week X? We know that they've got a beat on what we want to do, and now we need to adjust, or is that something you can feel differently each season?
Yeah, I think you're doing that all the time. Obviously, I think when it really becomes legitimate is probably by game 4, because most people are doing a 4-game breakdown of who they're playing. That's when you have enough of a sample size to say, okay, they have a legitimate tendency. And again, tendencies aren't always a bad thing. That means you're usually probably pretty good at something. But if you can do some things to break those tendencies, you'd like to do it. And then, what I try to do as well is we got buddies, right, at other schools and other places. So especially with maybe teams that you're not going to play again, it makes sense to share ideas. What did we have on them? What did they have on us? And be able to use that information as well. And then you got a bunch of, reports that you can run as well. Having a little bit of the extra staff that we have right now. I got somebody on either side of the ball responsible for self-scout. So we get a report, every week on Sunday, which has been good. And then during the bye week, we'll do it across the ball. The offense will do it for the defense will do it for the offense.
We saw the big hit that Sean took, obviously, at Auburn. From a durability perspective this year, how do you think he's held up so far? Obviously, getting Drew in games, I'm sure it's probably helped him.
Yeah, I think he's been good, and like to your point, the way we've been able to get him out of almost every game, and that's valuable. That's valuable. So far, so good. He's in really good position. Probably as good as he's been at this point of the season. Knock on wood. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
So we hear there from Penn State football head coach James Franklin ahead of Penn State's meeting with Northwestern at 3:30 on Saturday at Beaver Stadium. Let's dive into that matchup a little bit more and check out our key players for Penn State and Northwestern. And first for the Nittany Lions, let's start on the ground with Nicholas Singleton. 5 runs this season of 40 or more yards. 2 times he's been named the Big Ten Freshman of the Week, leads the FBS with an 8.9 yards per carry average this year, 42 carries, 376 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Been explosive for that Penn State offense. In fact, it's not just Nicholas Singleton. It's been the fellow freshman Katron Allen in the backfield as well. Allen, 111 rushing yards against Central Michigan last weekend, the Big Ten Freshman of the Week himself. Penn State with 2 true freshman running backs with 100-yard games in a single season for the first time since 2019. What a great punch they have been in the backfield. Then on the defensive side of the football, in the secondary, Jair Brown, 7 career interceptions, including 1 this season at Auburn, a team-leading 19 tackles, along with a sack, interception, PBU, forced fumble, and 3 quarterback hurries. Man, the Penn State defense has been great with 4 takeaways in back-to-back games. Let's take a look at Northwestern. It all starts in the backfield with number 26, Evan Hall, their junior running back, leading the team in rushing and receiving. In fact, he leads the nation in yards from scrimmage with 681. Offensive tackle Peter Skoronski, a projected first-round pick in the NFL draft. So he's certainly someone to watch on the offensive side of the ball. And then on defense, linebacker Xander Mueller, the junior, along with linebacker Bryce Gallagher, all over the field, which is to be expected for a Pat Fitzgerald-led team for the Northwestern Wildcats. So Penn State just wrapped up practice. They are inside today. A little rain, unexpected, as we're joined by number 3 cornerback Johnny Dixon. Johnny, thanks so much for the time.
Yes, sir, of course.
I know it was unexpected to be inside, and Coach Franklin just first talked about the hurricane. I know it's affecting your hometown and your area right now. Have you been in touch with your family? Is everything okay? What can you share with us there?
They good back home. The winds is heavy, but for the most part, they good. I talked to my mom this morning. She said it's looking okay.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate you sharing that. We're obviously thinking of everyone, not just your family, but everyone down there in Florida.
Appreciate that.
What is a terrible situation. So we just talked about the takeaways for your defense. Why has the defense been able to create those turnovers the last 2 games?
It's preached all day in practice. That's what they want. That's what they want out of us. Is what they expect, and we taught to go get the ball.
Johnny, how about that pick that you had there? That was a pretty nice catch. It's like you were running the route for the receiver. What do you see on that play?
The The quarterback was looking at me whole pre-snap. They put a bigger receiver out there. He was lined up in the divide, so I was expecting fade. I saw the ball, I made a play.
Well, you've been active not only, as we see here, trying to defend passes, but coming up and supporting against the run game, getting into the backfield. What part do you like more, covering a receiver or getting after the quarterback?
Covering. I love being on the island. Love that.
What's your mentality when you line up on the outside?
It's me and him, and you got to find a way to win.
What makes a really good defensive back? I'm not talking about just your team, but what overall, what's the identity that you try to have back there as a corner?
Confidence. You just gotta know that you can get the job done and feel like trusting your preparation and your faith.
What makes this room so good that you have Kalen and Joey? I mean, the list goes on and on. Marquise, Daquan. What makes that room so good?
The confidence and the talent. We all push each other. One person do one thing, next person want to match it. So if someone get a pick, next thing you know, we got 5 picks in the room. That's just, we all compete with each other. We make each other better.
What's the vibe in that room on a daily basis?
Funny, cool. We like brothers in there. We get along. We hang out outside of the room. We get each other better inside the room. It's like a family vibe.
So I heard from Daquan. He said that the celebration came from watching Damian Lillard. Is that true?
I didn't know. I thought he made it up. So
no.
He
said
I thought he made it up. So wherever he got it from is, yeah.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
You guys are becoming known for that now.
Yeah. It's tough. I like it.
What's the mentality as the team jumps back into Big Ten play this weekend against Northwestern? What has been the emphasis this week on the practice field?
Same mentality. Try to go 1-0. Study the other team. See what we got to do to get a win. Be dominant on both sides of the ball.
You mentioned studying the other team. What are some of the things that you look for, not giving anything away on Northwestern, but in your film prep on a weekly basis? Mm-hmm. What are you looking for to prepare for a game?
I look at wide receivers. I look at their splits, see what splits indicate what routes, see what releases. They go inside, where they're going after that. They go outside, where they're going after that. Just tendencies in the routes.
Is it fun to play on a defense where you know Coach Diaz has so much confidence in you guys on the outside that he's not afraid to leave you on an island?
Yeah, it's fun because he trusts us. It gives us even more confidence because we know that our coaches trust us and they trust in our ability and our talent.
What's the ceiling for your defense? What type of potential do you guys have this year?
It's high. We still trying to reach it, so we don't know yet.
What are you reading when a defensive lineman's getting after the quarterback, heating that quarterback's timing up, speeding him up? Is that when you really start to think, man, I might be able to create a turnover on this play?
He's about to throw something he shouldn't throw. That's what I started thinking. If we getting good pressure, that's always good for DBs. Good D linemen make great defensive groups. And
then the last one for you, you talk about your corners, you guys pushing each other to get better every day in practice. That's a pretty good wide receiver group lining up across you guys every day. Mm-hmm. How are they making you better as well?
Same thing, competition. You got to go out there and compete to the best of your ability, and they make you bring the best out of yourself. So that's why we get better every day.
And I look at that sign right over there. Attitude, work ethic, compete. And sacrifice. Compete's a big thing out there on the football field. Why is it your favorite?
Because that's how you get better. You can put in work all day until you line up against somebody and get better. If it's your craft, that's the only way you get better.
Johnny, really appreciate it. Thoughts and prayers to your family and everyone back home as well. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Johnny Dixon with us here. If you're coming to the game this weekend, we remind you to exercise Happy Valley hospitality. Be respectful, be responsible, be great fans, and be gracious hosts. Happy Valley hospitality as Penn State gets set to take on Northwestern. Let's look at that matchup again. It's going to be at 3:30 coming up on Saturday as we take a look at the DeWalt benches on the sidelines at Beaver Stadium. DeWalt is the official bench partner of Penn State football. As you can see, the Nittany Lions will be on those benches as Penn State takes on Northwestern at 3:30 on Saturday at Beaver Stadium, jumping back into Big Ten play. So we just chatted with Johnny Dixon. Again, our thoughts and prayers with everyone down in Florida right now dealing with Hurricane Ian, and make sure you exercise that Happy Valley hospitality this weekend. Brian Tripp now joined by Chris Stahl. I want to say long snapper, but I think after this weekend I could say holder as well, senior on the Penn State football team. Thanks so much.
It was fun to get out there and hold. A little bit different viewpoint for a change, but it was fun.
All right. The special teams obviously is something that's an emphasis every day with this program. How has the special teams units impacted your performance on the field and the team's 1-0 results so far this season?
Yeah, I think we take it one play at a time. 6-second mentality, and it's a little bit different on special teams as we don't get, first, second, and third down. If we make a mistake, we get one down, so we have to make the most of it.
I see you're wet. Because the rest of the team came inside, did the specialists have to go outside today?
So a couple specialists went over to the stadium today to get some work in there in the stadium, and then it just so happened to start raining on us, so that was fun.
You know, that's an interesting perspective because I talked to Barney after the game on Saturday, and he said that stadium is so unique because of the swirling winds. And anytime you can get in there and just get a feel for what may happen in that stadium, different surface, different conditions. How often do you guys go over there that you bring that up to get some work in?
Yeah, so we're able to go over there every Wednesday. Obviously, as the later the season gets, the harder the ground gets, the colder it gets. The weather will start changing, the winds will start swirling. I think it's just always a good time to get over there and get as much work in as we can. Barney
gets an opportunity this year to obviously perform out there as the punter. What have been your impressions of him so far?
I think Barney's done an incredible job.
What is it, 9 punts inside the 10? That's not too bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's almost Gillikin-esque, as you could say. But no, I think Barney's done a great job, and he's going to continue to do a great job.
And we know with the kicking group, whether it's Jake or Sander, Gay, like everyone's pushing each other to get better. We just talked to Johnny about the level of competition they have in the defensive backfield. How is that competition improving everyone on special teams as well?
I'm sure it's the same way he's talked about. Everyone gets everyone better, whether that be off the field or on the field, whether we're off the field playing FIFA or playing golf or something, then on the field is the most important part, kicking, doing what we need to do.
All right, you mentioned it off the field. What are your hobbies since you just brought up FIFA and golf?
Yeah, so I'm not the biggest FIFA guy, but Sander, Jake, and Barney are.
That doesn't surprise me. They're all soccer guys, right?
Yeah, they're soccer guys, but I'm a huge golfer. Obviously, the weather is starting to change around here, so golf season is almost coming to a close, but I try to get out when I can.
Are we allowed to ask what your handicap is?
It's like a 12.
That's pretty good. It's not bad.
I just broke 80 for the first time.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It was a big moment.
Have you put the simulator to good use?
Yeah. Ever since that was put in, I've been a regular user of that simulator.
One thing, too, obviously we joke about what you're doing off the field in your free time, but you're also very active off the field within the football program. How much value have you put into what you can contribute, not just on the field, but off the field with the platform you have here with Penn State football?
Yeah, I think all student athletes can use their, name, image, and likeness for more than one thing. It's not always about money. It's about, specifically.
See, it's like contagious here.
You're killing me. But I'm able to work with Uplifting Athletes, an organization that raises awareness for rare diseases and also raises funds. So being able to use my platform as a student athlete here has helped me with the rare disease community and helping them, raise awareness and money.
How much are you looking forward to getting back into Big Ten play and getting back out there on Saturday?
Oh, I love it. Big Ten football is the best.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Chris, thanks so much. Really appreciate the time after practice today, and we'll let you go dry off and clean up. Chris Stahl with us here at Penn State and Northwestern at 3:30 on Saturday from Beaver Stadium. There's our matchup on ESPN for the first time this year. Penn State and Northwestern. The Nittany Lions are 4-0. The Wildcats are 1-3. The first time facing Northwestern since 2017, and the first meeting at Beaver Stadium since 2014. Well, those two guys we just talked to, their next goal is to get to the National Football League. And another good week for Penn Staters in the NFL. Let's check out some of the highlights. 18-year pro kicker Robbie Gould connected on a 51-yard field goal for the 49ers on Sunday night, and in the same game, Altoona native and defensive lineman Kevin Givens recorded a sack and 3 tackles. Chicago rookie safety Jaquan Brisker had 6 tackles and helped the Bears improve to 2-1, and the Eagles remained undefeated with running back Miles Sanders contributing 46 yards on the ground. Finally, it was a whiteout in New York, and running back Saquon Barkley had 126 total yards, including exploding for this 36-yard touchdown run in a primetime matchup with Micah Parsons and the Cowboys. Week for Nittany Lions in the NFL, and closer to home, our Penn State Student Athletes of the Week, brought to you by MI Windows and Doors from Penn State Women's Soccer, which is having just a remarkable season. Penelope Hawking, who's in her first season with the Penn State program, and then Chris Jakes from the men's soccer team. Penn State is having a terrific, and I mean a terrific fall sports campaign. Let's take a look at where Penn State is in the rankings this week. A lot of programs right now ranked among the top 25, in fact, the top 10. And it all starts with field hockey, ranked 6th nationally. Grace Wallace is going to join us in just a moment. Women's soccer all the way up to 6th after their huge wins this past weekend. Football, we know, number 11. Women's ice hockey, 11th. They upset Wisconsin, the third-ranked team in the country in their season opener, and we flashed through women's volleyball, men's soccer. What a year it has been for so many Penn State sports programs. We said the football team was inside tonight because of the rain. Well, Zach Gershman thankfully brought, I think, the best umbrella that I have seen in Happy Valley in a long time. He's over at the Penn State Field Hockey Complex right now. Zach, we just saw it. Penn State 6th in the country. They've won 7 in a row. They're off to an unbeaten start in Big Ten play. And they're playing at the Penn State Field Hockey Complex that's going to look a whole lot different starting next season.
And when you're number 6 in the country, your stadium better look different. The Penn State Field Hockey Complex, for those, just to tie in Penn State football a little bit, for those that were at the game against Central Michigan, you heard Charmarette Curtis talk to the fan base saying we have a renovation, as you see on your screen there, a $12.8 million renovation taking place right here at the Penn State Field Hockey Complex. 1,200 new seats will be added to the facility, concession stands, ticketing office, and more than anything, best of all, home and visiting locker rooms for the teams. The renderings look beautiful, and it's going to look even more beautiful in person once it kicks off. As you mentioned, the kickoff has already begun here. Trucks outside, dirt lifted up off the grass a little bit, and there'll be a groundbreaking ceremony October 9th versus Lafayette, where they'll be able to honor and really put this into fruition a little bit more.
Yeah, no doubt about that. That's going to be an awesome recognition coming up after the game against Lafayette on October 9th. That should be around 3:30 if you're in town that day, the groundbreaking ceremony from the Penn State Field Hockey Complex. Of course, come out earlier to support the team and watch the game. And Zach, for fans coming out this year, just because there might not be bleachers right now, they're still supporting this team like crazy. I think I've seen a lot of crazy lawn chairs. Like, they had a contest earlier this year to design your best lawn chair, and seating is still available as long as you bring your own over to the Field Hockey Complex.
Yes, and people have been packing the facility all the way to the brim, touching the Pagula Ice Arena walls with their own lawn chairs. That just truly shows the We Are support that the Penn State Field Hockey team gets. When there are no stands possible, we adapt, we improvise, we overcome, and that's what makes We Are Penn State what We Are really is.
Oh, that's awesome. And that's what you're doing tonight, Zach, again, having to adapt and overcome. We seem to like wet weather here on our programs, whether it's on the Unrivaled Weekly Preview Show. We had the Penn State Women's Hockey pregame show last week, and you were out in the pouring rain at Nittanyville. Are you going back to Nittanyville this week?
Honestly, I might. Now that I have the umbrella ready to go, I'm better prepared than I was last week, so we might give it another go.
Zach, thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Great work there, as always. Zach Gershman with us from the Penn State Field Hockey Complex. That's going to look a lot different next year. Grace Wallace now is joining us from the Penn State Field Hockey team, graduate student forward from Blue Bell, Pennsylvania. Grace, you're playing at that complex right now. I know you wish you had a chance to play there next year, but it seems like your team is really, really excited about the work that's going on back home.
We are. We just feel like we've been improving every weekend, so that's really exciting, and we're just really happy with where we are right now.
Yeah, certainly. There's no doubt about that. Winning 7 in a row, the team unbeaten to start Big Ten play. What has been some of the things that coaches emphasized to allow you guys to have that success here as you guys open up Big Ten play 3-0?
I think we're just taking it one game at a time, one practice at a time. Obviously we want to win championships, but you can only do that if you just take it one day at a time. So yeah, that's really just been our mindset.
We're looking at some highlights here. It's been another great year for Mackenzie Alessi, Sophia Gladio, and your offense also very stout defensively. What has really been some of the keys to success so far this season?
I think we're really just putting in the work. We always talk about like just giving 100% and having grit. So we sorry, I lost my train of thought.
That happens to me all the time.
Just like doing everything 100% and as a team. I think we defend as a team, we attack as a team. That's always our goal.
2 goals and an assist this season for you, including an assist against Michigan State last weekend. 2 great home wins. What's it like to play at home here in Happy Valley with the fan support, even as Zach just talked about, even though we might not have bleachers up this season?
It's the best. There's really nothing like it. The turnout we get from the fans is honestly amazing. And even without the stands this year, we've still just had such great support from our fans. We have our own little student section, which is just awesome. Love seeing them there, even when it's rainy and wet and cold. They're still there. We absolutely love it.
No days off in the Big Ten either. It is a challenging schedule. How great is it to go out there every single weekend and know that you have to have your A game to have a chance to win?
It's incredible. You can't take any team for granted. Big Ten is just so competitive this season, and it's just really great to see how the conference has grown over the years.
It's always competitive. Northwestern is up next Friday. That will be a tough one. You're back home on the 7th of October against Iowa, which right now is ranked 3rd in the country. Penn State is ranked 6th, and you have a chance to play in front of your home fans, but you've always had a chance to play here for your head coach, Charmarette Curtis. What makes her a great coach to play for?
I think she always says she is always just going to care about us as people and as players. And I think that's honestly very unique among coaches. And, she's been here for 30 years, so she bleeds blue and white, and it's just so inspiring to see her out there every day.
We'll let you off the hook after this. You started your collegiate career at Virginia. Now you found a home here at Penn State. What makes this Penn State program and this Penn State family special?
Just that pride. Like I said, Char bleeds blue and white. Everyone on our team just loves Penn State and wants to represent our school and those that came before us. And I feel like that's just so unique to this university, this program. Yeah, I think that's evident with LB and Laura on the staff as well. So many people that call Penn State home. I was joking. There's one more. For fans that want to come out and see you guys when you're back at home against Iowa and Lafayette coming up in 2 weeks, what can they expect when they see your team play? Why is your team so much fun to watch? We have so much speed around the field, and that we're just going to try to go in transition. Yep. I think that's one of our biggest weapons, and we're always going to give it 100% out on the field. Well, we really appreciate it. Dominant on both ends of the field, and right now on a terrific 7-game run. Penn State on the road this weekend and then back at home to take on Iowa on October 7th. Grace, thanks so much. Thank you. Grace Wallace with us here from the Penn State field hockey team. Well, the field hockey team is on the road. The Penn State women's soccer team is home tomorrow night, and we will be over. Hopefully the weather is good at Jeffrey Field as the 6th-ranked Nittany Lions take on Michigan State. We'll have a Penn State women's soccer pregame show for you tomorrow. 6:35, our approximate airtime. You can see it on Penn State Women's Soccer or Nittany Lions All Access Facebook, Penn State Women's Soccer on Twitter, Go PSU TV on YouTube, and on GoPSUSports.com and Lion Vision. That's the matchup tomorrow night. Penn State and Michigan State, 7 o'clock on Big Ten Plus. Our pregame show takes you up until kickoff. So as we wrap up our Unrivaled weekly preview show from Lasch Building tonight, don't forget after the game, coming up on Saturday from Beaver Stadium, we'll have the Unrivaled post-game show. Where else can you get the immediate reaction after the game? Head coach James Franklin, student athletes that have successful performances will join us, hopefully talking about another Nittany Lion victory. But before you come to the game, if you are coming to the game, make sure you check out the Beaver Stadium Block Party. It runs from 10:30 till 3 p.m. You can find it around Curtin Road and along Curtin Road. We have the team arrival, live music, food, games, fun, the radio show. We're out there. Man, it's going to be a great day. Hopefully the weather holds for Saturday at Beaver Stadium. As always, make sure you arrive to the gates early. Be prepared. Get in. You don't want to miss the Blue Band and all the pageantry, the traditions, everything that makes game day here in Happy Valley so awesome. You don't want to miss that. Those are the recommended arrival times to the gates on Saturday prior to kickoff. And when you get to the gates, make sure you have that new Penn State Nittany Lions mobile app downloaded so you have your tickets ready to go when you arrive at Beaver Stadium. Reinstall that new app now. It should say Penn State Nittany Lions. And fans, as always, please be responsible. Be responsible. Be respectful. Be great fans. Be gracious hosts. Let's show why Happy Valley not only has that great environment and atmosphere, but why our fans are the very, very best. Exercise and practice Happy Valley hospitality every single weekend. Follow Penn State football on social media. I know so many of you are watching from there tonight. Feel free to drop a comment in. Let us know where you are watching from. Again, our thoughts and prayers to those who are going through the terrible experience right now with Hurricane Ian hitting the south. I know it's starting in Florida, but it's going to make its way up the entire eastern seaboard. So everyone that's in that storm's path, please be safe. And we really appreciate you carving out some time to join us here tonight. So we are back with you with the Penn State women's soccer pregame show tomorrow from Jeffrey Field at around 6:35, and then football coverage after the game
on Saturday with the Penn State football Unrivaled postgame show. It's the Nittany Lions and Wildcats at 3:30 on ESPN. Thanks for tuning in tonight. I'm Brian Tripp saying so long from the Lasch Building. Penn State and Northwestern coming up back into Big Ten play here in week number 5. Thanks for tuning in.